everyone, it's Mirika Abundant and thank you for tuning in again. So in the next days and weeks you are actually going to be joining me in when I share why and how and for which reasons and all of that stuff. I went from 80-10-10 to 60-20-20 macro ratio. And disclaimer directly, I didn't track it. I just intentionally increased my fats and proteins and processed foods for 1 month. And the reason for that is because I wanted to see for myself and show for myself what that actually does to me or with me mentally and physically. And also I wanted to take you with me on that journey so you can actually, be inspired or whatever and see if that's something you want to try for yourself. Because we are all, when you're subscribed to me, you are aware or even coming or even part of the community, the high carb, low fat, vegan community, or the whole food plant-based or whole starch plant-based community, or the whole starch low fat community. And that is all great, that is all fine. These are all foods and ways of eating that I personally 100% enjoy myself. But when something like a dieting or eating disorder voice comes into all of that kind of way of eating, then there can problems arise. And in some cases, like in myself, the problems can be super big, like in a way that someone is actually going into an eating disorder or not being able to get out of it because of the restrictive way of eating. And so, as you guys know, I've been in full recovery for quite a long time already, since 2018, and I've come a long way. I like the fear foods. It's not like I have fear foods in the way of I don't let myself eat them, but it's just like, okay, I know, whatever, brain, you're telling me, this is not the ideal food, but you know what, I'm just gonna eat it anyway. And it's like I'm just doing it, and it's just something I do, and food has really lost its power in that sense over me. And so I don't follow any macro ratio anymore, like for the whole full recovery. I mean, that's kind of the point of recovery, right? Like you just ditch all of that, and that's also what I did. But there's, I think it's kind of normal that what we do on a daily basis, it just kind of becomes a habit. And as you could see from my previous what I eat in a days, there are days or like phases, like temporary phases where I just, enjoy, where I really don't eat a lot of fats or proteins. At least there have been, because actually my experiment actually changed a lot around that for me. I don't think I'm going to go back to kind of neglecting fats and proteins. Just a little spoiler alert, I'm going to take you into everything what has happened to me during that month, like digestion wise, hormone wise, satiety, satiation wise, taste wise, everything. Also like meal frequency, blood sugar, if it caused me food freedom or more of like the food fears, or if it disapproved or if it approved fears and concerns around fats, like higher fats and higher proteins and higher processed foods. And the reason why I did that was because, coming back to my point, I just wanted to make a point in breaking kind of the normal daily habits. And whereas I didn't eat, whereas I when I ate no overt fats, or like that's not because I'm restricting, but because it just, you know, I'm not missing anything. It's like I'm kind of a person, I love simplicity, but I know, you know, that what you eat today, you crave tomorrow. Write that down for you. If that's something like, I love that. I actually had to write it down when I heard it the first time. And it's like, sometimes you don't notice, sometimes you don't know what you're missing out on. And you only know what you do on a daily basis, and you only know what you feel like on a daily basis when you do something that you do on a daily basis. So it can actually be the case that you think you could not feel better. Something is so great and working for you, like never change a running system. But it can also be that you just don't have the comparison, like you just don't know that you can actually feel even greater or much better, or you just kind of have become accustomed and used to the way you're feeling, and you think that's kind of like, and that's obviously kind of your standard, and you think that's just how it is, that you just get used to it. And so you also don't see any point or reason in like, why would I change anything? And let me tell you right now, if you are following me because you're struggling with eating disorder or restrictive thoughts around food, especially when you're vegan, because vegan, I think there shouldn't be any restriction within a vegan diet, because that is kind of what's causing ex-vegans, like vegans becoming ex-vegans. And so if you are struggling with anything like that, I really, really, really beg you to listen to me and take my word and my experience for that, and really challenge your habitual way of eating. What you're doing on a daily basis, there's no way to get around that. You need to be able to change that up, and change that up big time. You need to be flexible. You need to learn. If you can't do that, you need to learn to become mentally flexible and also physically. For example, if you are struggling with digestion of fats, and you think that fats are actually bad for your digestion, it's just not as smooth, then I challenge you with this to join me for 1 month. I actually already did that month. It's already in the past. I just have a lot of footage for you that I'm going to share with you, and we're going to talk about all of the changes that I noticed, and the food itself, of course, is you're going to see that, how my plates looked and everything. I just want to challenge you, that you challenge your beliefs, like things like the fat you eat is the fat you wear, protein is toxic. Yeah, I'm not going into that right now, but that's going to be a topic of the next videos also. Like, you know, anything processed, your body will not be able to handle that well. It's going to be stored as fat, or eating higher calorie density. These are all things that are very much communicated and promoted in certain circles of the vegan community. And I think that while it is meant in a good way, it is actually causing a lot of harm. And the harm happens when it falls on the wrong soil, if you will. And that was the case with me. And so the reason why I'm taking you through all of this, intentionally increasing fats, intentionally increasing proteins, intentionally increasing processed foods, and also intentionally not increasing any kind of movement or exercise. The reason why I do this, and I believe is that that's super powerful for you and all of us, is because we, as part of ED recovery, or you don't even have to have an eating disorder because of that, you just want to stay flexible. And actually, it's not even only about the mental aspect. We're actually going to talk about and see why this experiment is actually super beneficial and super important for you physically, because it's not like higher, like increasing fats and proteins and processed foods is going to be any less healthy for you, that it's any less healthy for you physically. And I know that is a bold statement, but you're just gonna have to tune into my videos to see why that is the case. So many people think that, yes, okay, I see why, like mentally and socially, I should be able to incorporate less ideal foods, and you know, we're not living in the natural environment like Mowgli or whatever. I see why I should do that, but I still, you know, we're still caught in that belief that it's going to be bad for us physically. Like it's we feel like we have to decide between being physically healthy or mentally healthy, and I want to show with you, and this experiment is going to help you with that. I'm super convinced that these changes in the way how we eat are benefiting us on both levels, and we do not have to choose between one or the other. We can have both. Actually, we can not only have two, like both, but not only body and mind healthy, but also the soul, because they are one unity. I know it sounds woo, I know it's cliche, but that's how it is. That's a fact. And so join me for that. Give this a thumbs up if you're excited for that. And maybe already, not only maybe, just prepare mentally for joining me on that, and do not hesitate to just kind of, if you're feeling inspired, do the same as I did last month and as I still do, because this whole experiment benefited me so much. It's just, I'm just going to continue with what I did there. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Share this with someone who needs some kick into their ass to go next level, go the next step in their ED recovery, or in general restriction recovery, so we can together you know, not get complacent. Also, if you're in recovery for a long time already, it's super important that we don't become complacent or neglective with our recovery, that we keep getting closer to the point where nothing, whatever it is, as long as it's vegan, is off limits for us mentally and physically. And yeah, I see you next video. Bye bye.